Please welcome President and CEO, My Place Hotels of America, Ryan Rivett.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here this morning, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to share my story with you about leadership. I first want to ask a question, and hopefully I can see if you raise your hands for me. How many of you here are involved in a multi-generational company? And how many here are second and third generation leaders in your family's business today? I figured I'd be in pretty good company with that. I'm the third generation in my family since we started in the hospitality business in the mid-'70s, the second generation to take a leadership position. And so I got to spend a lot of time in and around our company and with a lot of great leaders growing up and still today as I continue to develop my career in our company. And it precipitated a lot of really neat experiences for me and understanding of what was most important in leadership qualities. And I find that of all the characteristics and all the different leaders that I observed, my grandfather was the most dynamic leader and the one I was closest to. He was a pretty charismatic guy and still is today, and has a very dynamic leadership style, is ever adapting, always relating to people that he was dealing with, whether it was an employee or a franchisee, vendor, or just a friend. Always seemed to be able to get control of a room very quickly, get people's attention, and have them continue to pay attention until he was ready to listen to what they had to say. He was a great student, and I think leaders are very commonly excellent students of everything that they encounter. So as I observed my grandfather, I said, one of these days I want to be that type of leader. I think it's a pretty cool thing, and I'm going to measure my success by how well I can implement the leadership characteristics that he showed me into my leadership style. As I started out in my career, I tried to emulate those things that I'd learned from him, tried to implement them directly and work in a similar manner as he did, and figured out that I was wrong. It didn't work for me the way it did for him. And so I recognized that I had to develop my own leadership style and understanding of how to implement those great characteristics I had learned through understanding what I did best. And I think that's a very important characteristic in a leadership style and the development of your own leadership style. I'd like to share with you a few things that I learned throughout the process. The first is that great leaders, and consistent among every great leader that I've experienced, have the propensity to develop and cultivate leadership everywhere they go. Now, I'm from South Dakota. We do a lot of farming there, and cultivation is a common word. And for me, it means taking something that's static and improving it to go beyond what's capable of doing currently. And I think that's really important for a leader to do for his leadership team and the people that he's charged with taking care of. The next is I've found that all leaders are very self-aware. They're continuously measuring themselves, measuring their ability to move forward, where their decisions they make today are going to lead them to tomorrow, and also where to start and stop with their people. I think it's extremely important to understand where you stop as a leader and where you should let your people take the direction and the motion of the company forward. I've also learned that leaders are always willing to empower their people to move beyond what they maybe feel they're capable of, to not just stay at a level of risk that is inherent in their position or their status in the company, but a leader will empower his people to take additional risk, to feel that intensity that comes along with making a judgment call and having great input into a company. And I think that's very, very important in a leadership style. And finally, as I evaluate leaders and understand what all these characteristics lead to, what I understand is that the greatest leaders and the greatest successes in our business and so many others is because a leader is always willing to elevate his people to a level where they can see everything that he can see, and by default, everything he's not able to see. Thank you very much.